I'm enjoying the last rays of the sun on this lovely, lovely day, and what better thing to do than talk about our favorite movies of 2024. I got my tea, I hope you have yours, and let's start talking about movies. So the first movie I'm gonna talk about is actually one of the last movies that I watched in 2024, and it is Anora. Anora is about Annie, who has her chance of a Cinderella story when she meets and impulsively marries this rich guy. But once the news reaches Russia, her fairy tale is threatened because the parents are coming and they are getting this marriage annulled. I must say, it's not often that you read a blurb that is 100% what the movie is about. It is what I saw, but it was still nothing like that at all. Because it felt like a true comedy at times. I laughed a lot. But these funny moments also made me stop in my tracks because you knew the moments of being chewed and spit out were coming, and they did. And they chewed and spit you out completely. That's also what made this movie feel so authentic. There are tragic moments, the funniest moments, heartfelt moments, and moments you thought you would never have. This film has what I really miss when watching newer films, a very deep sense of getting to know your main character. Like Mikey Madison did such a good job of portraying Annie in this one. You're there with her the whole way. You're never in doubt about who she is or where she stands with the characters or the other people in the room, and you're rooting for her because you know her and you know where she's going and what she wants. You're just right there with her every step of the way. At 11:30 on the 11th of October 1975, a group of young comedians and writers changed television history in America. This is a story about the 90 minutes leading up to the first broadcast of Saturday Night Live. I went into this film not knowing anything about the story behind Saturday Night, and boy was I in for a treat. First, let's just mention some of the actors in this film, because you have Rachel Sennett, you have Dylan O'Brien, and you have Phil Wolfhard, and that's just to mention like a few. And then the star of the show is Gabriel LaBelle. He, to be honest, stole this movie. Or like he was just the oomph that came and like blew you away while watching it. Because I knew I was gonna enjoy this, but he just, again, came in there, swiped me off my feet, and did such an incredible job at this role. Then you have the limited story. We have like the 90 minutes leading up to the first broadcasting, and I just love a limited story. I love watching people stressing about like the biggest night of their career while I can just eat popcorn, lean back. That's like the great thing about watching a movie, you know? And to be honest, I just think that is what really made me enjoy this film. It's very obvious that the people who made it with so much enjoyment. And it's just a movie about people making movies, or like, and it's just a movie about people making something so close to like their heart and their purpose. And I am just a sucker for that, and I'm a sucker for a lot of actors on screen. I'm a sucker for like this intertwined stories of people, and yes, just an incredible film to watch in the cinema. Because the cinema was full when I watched this one, because they started only showing it one day in Denmark. So I was like, we have to go. So it was full. I've said that a couple times now. So do you like get it? It was full. But the best thing was that it was so funny, and I just love people's reaction while watching films in the cinema. So I think that was like my favorite part, was about watching a lot of people do something with a lot of people. We follow Rose LaRusso as she navigates her life in the 1980s in Staten Island while she discovers her dad is part of the mafia there. This film is just such an incredible show of women. I've always loved watching mafia films and TV shows, and this one is just incredible for showing women in this mafia setting and how strong they really are while having no power or very little power of their own, and then it being made by a woman. It just feels so right. It is truly the relationship between the two sisters, Rose and Connie, that made me love this film so much. It's really a treat to see. They're there for each other all the way. We follow them through their teenage years and their early adulthood, how they are there for each other, how they are questioning each other, how they are hating each other as sisters do, and especially in an environment like this, a very controlled, very manipulative environment. And these characters were so beautifully portrayed by Emily Balder and Odessa Asen. A wild fact is that Jennifer Esposito, she produced, wrote, and directed this film. It was her directorial debut, and she even put a mortgage down on her house to get the funding for this film. Challengers might have been my favorite movie of the whole year. It consumed me months before coming out. I watched the trailer countless of times, and then it consumed me after coming out, and I did watch it a couple of times in the cinema as well. This movie just embodies everything I love about movies. I find it hard to put into words exactly why, but I think it's the feel of the film, which is very much a Luca Guadagnino thing. He just makes films with this certain feeling of characters feeling very real, and like you not being able to look away. You cannot look away. You have to watch them do whatever it is they're doing, and you're mesmerized by it. You don't really know why, you just are. And that feeling was there throughout the whole film of Challengers, at least for me. Then we have the performance of Zendaya and Mike Weiss and Josh O'Connor, and the tension between those characters was chef's kiss. And it was no matter who of them you had in a room together, they just had this incredible tension and build-up. And when you have all three of them in a room, electrifying. This is also one of the movies that makes you remember why you love movies, because it's so fun and nerve-wracking at the same time, and you're just sitting on the edge of your seat, loving it and eating it up every second of it. And as always, please share your favorite films down below in the comment section so I can snoop around and see if there's anything I should see there, because I love to hear what have been on your mind in consuming you guys. Wife to the king, icon to the world, destined for more. Through Priscilla's eyes, Sofia Coppola tells the story of a thrilling crush, an ally in loneliness, and vulnerable best friend, and how it turned into a turbulent marriage, and how Priscilla navigated her life with Elvis. Kayleen Spaney's performance in this film was mind-blowing. The fact that she played a teenager, a girl in early adulthood, and a woman equally well, and like that it wasn't different actors but just her performing these different periods of Priscilla's life, was incredible to watch. I was like mouth hanging open, keep going back to look at her to realize it is the same actor, or like not to realize but to keep reminding myself that it was the same actor. To say I was in awe would be an understatement, and we have to give it to a lordy. He did have the charm and manipulative ways of a man down to a T. I shouldn't be laughing at that, but like I can't say that word, manipulative, like faster than that. I have to spell it through. So, but manipulative and charming men are like, ugh, so last year. But he does play them very well. And throughout the film we just saw Priscilla's alienation and how her loneliness, while everybody putting her in boxes, not her being there to determine herself what was gonna happen with her in her life and her marriage. It was just a film by a woman for the girls and women, and that just came clear through the screen. And I know it's saying the same thing about Fresh Kills, but I just cannot keep away from these movies which so obviously were made by women for women. Because there's so many movies we've watched throughout, especially our teenage years, that were by men for men, which is fine. But to find these gems and to see more of them getting made is just healing a part of my like movie loving heart in a way I didn't know I would need, or that I needed. So that's the tea. Then we have two reoccurring films, which are two films I mentioned in an earlier video this year about my favorite films from the first half of 24. So I won't go into too much details about them here, but it's Femme and Before Sunrise. Please just watch them. They're very different, and yeah, just very different, but please watch them or watch the video and see what I thought about them and what they're about. And that takes me to the next movie, because that's the second one in like the installment of like Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and Before Midnight. So let's talk about that one. So I won't go into too much details about those here, but if you haven't watched them, please do, but please read up on them or watch my video about them, because especially Femme, I would say you need to be prepared to watch it. Before Sunrise, you don't. That is just a treat. Go watch it without knowing anything. But Femme, I would go in knowing something, because that one is a right of emotion. And so the last of the films in this video is Before Sunset, and it was incredible. It was just everything I'd hoped for, especially for a second movie. It left me equally speechless and giddy as the first one. I would call that an accomplishment, especially for a second movie. And because it is a second movie, I won't say too much, but if you haven't watched the first, watch the first. And if you have watched the first but haven't watched this one, it is worth it. Don't you worry, it is very much worth it. Because it felt like a ray of sunshine after like a week of clouds. And if you're from the Nordic countries like me, you know what that's like. Then we have a list of honorable mentions, which are movies that didn't make it to my favorites list, but are still movies that pop up into my mind and I think about and really liked and enjoyed in 2024. Drum roll. Dune Part 2, La Chimera, Bottoms, and Thelma and Louise. I can't concentrate about two things. I wanted to drink the last bit of my tea and say like, the tea is up. And so is this video. So yeah, that was my favorite films of 2024. And thank you for watching, and don't forget to tell about your favorite films down below so we can talk about films all day long, because that's one of my favorite things to do, like, ever. So now Gollum apparently made an appearance, and I will say bye.